Alrighty, so let us start. I'm going to leave comments on this time because actually the images that we are going to look at will lend themselves to having the comments kept. So that's what we're going to do. So I hope I don't distract myself too much, because also I have to say there's a window, there's a sort of like big French doors behind me into like the garden area, and so if you hear crunching of gravel and people outside, then that's what that is. So communal areas, working from hotels, it's all good fun, isn't it? So anyway, right, let us start. And today I am going to be talking about something that I don't tend to talk about, and this is, I'm talking about an installation, kind of a conceptual art stroke installation, and it is a work that I was sort of aware of about, 30 years ago when it was first produced. And it was a work that I remember produced a lot of eye rolling. So today's work is all about sweeties, or candy, the Americans would say, which might give you another clue to what the link is for May's Elevenses. So maybe you've already got it. I know a couple of people have. I think probably if you've got ideas, then you will probably get it after this one. So candy or sweeties, and it is this installation here. And so these are all boiled sweets, just wrapped in little wrappers. And I say that I remember this from about 30 years ago. So this is a work that was produced in 1991 by a Cuban American artist called Felix Gonzales-Torres. And yeah, and I absolutely remember. I remember it was, this is actually from its exhibition in Chicago, and it kind of made headlines because, people were saying, I remember people kind of getting bags of Werther's or Fox's Glacier Mints or whatever and just going, well, I could do that, and so they go and tip them into the corner of the room, or pretend to, because they probably didn't. And it was very much like, is this really art? And so this whole idea of conceptual art was really came to the fore for me personally with this installation. I remember talking about it. But then I also remember being quite kind of flabbergasted, really, because I remember reading that not only were these sweeties, and that this was the artwork, at least as I now understand it was kind of part of the artwork, because the rest of it is the concept. But so not only was this the artwork, but you could actually go and eat them. Like, you could go into the gallery and you could fill your pockets with as many sweets as you wanted. And you could, you could stand around having a chat, eating them, and nobody would tell you off. In fact, that was sort of part of the whole work. The artist said that he needed the audience, so that the audience were part of it, and without the audience, it wasn't really complete. So I remember just thinking, oh my God, this is before the days when I spent a lot of time in art galleries, and just imagining being able to go in and it's not just about not breathing on the artworks. It's that you could touch them, you could mess them up, you could eat them, you could basically destroy them, which was like So that was my introduction to this work of art, and then I found out a little bit more about it, and obviously for this Elevenses, I refreshed my memory, and this, as I said, was a piece that was created in 1991 by a Cuban American artist called Felix Torres Gonzales, who was a gay gentleman, and 1990s. America, homosexuals, what do you think of? Unfortunately, you think of AIDS, or maybe that's not all you think of. Hopefully that's not all you think of, but very, very prevalent. And unfortunately, his partner Ross was at this time dying of AIDS. And so the sort of idea behind this is actually someone wrote to me when I put it up on my stories, and they said, oh, it's quite heartbreaking. That was knew the work, and I said, yes, it is. It is heartbreaking. It's quite beautiful as well in many respects. So his part of the deal of this artwork was that this particular one, it's called Portrait of Ross, and part of the deal was that the weight of the sweets should be 175 pounds or 12.5 stone, which was Ross's ideal body weight. He at this time was being ravaged by the AIDS virus, and so of course was losing weight. And so in a way, people being able to go and take the sweets and eat them was it was sort of almost mimicking the AIDS virus. So so this pile of sweets, if people took them and they ate them, or they stuffed their pockets with them, or they just whatever, it was essentially sort of destroying this ideal work of art, but that was part of it. So yes, in a way, the audience were mimicking the AIDS virus. So that was one part, which was kind of a little bit moving, and so as the weight was going down, so Ross's weight was going down, but the deal was also that the gallery, or whoever was displaying this work, had to then replenish every evening when the gallery was closed the weight of the sweets. So they had to replenish the sweets to bring the weight back up to the 12.5 stone that was Ross's ideal weight. And so then that gives it quite a different meaning, which is far more, it's not far more poignant. The first one is very poignant, but it's poignant in a different way, because in that way it's sort of like Ross is being replenished, and so in that way it's everlasting life, if you like. And actually, I'm gonna read a quote. By the way, I said 175 pounds. Yes, I'm gonna read you a quote, which is Gonzales-Torres, and he said, sort of in terms of this replenishment, he was talking about it being almost like transubstantiation. So if the sweeties kind of represented Ross's weight, then taking them and eating them is like you're eating a part of his body. If you're Catholic, that might mean quite a lot to you in many different ways. But he said, and I quote, "You put it in your mouth, the sweet, obviously. You put it in your mouth." You put it in your mouth and you suck on someone else's body. And in this way, my work becomes part of so many other people's bodies. Just for a few seconds, I've put something sweet in someone's mouth, and that is very sexy. So yeah, he kind of was going there as well, wasn't he? So lots of different meanings. Yeah, it's so conceptual. And then I think as well, if you think about, what do you give your loved ones Valentine's Day, or maybe for their birthday, or gifts, candy, it's something that would be a gift, and so it's sort of something that represents love as well, I think. So I feel that absolutely, this is something that anybody could do, and this is the point of conceptual art in so many ways. Anybody could do it, anybody could recreate this, but it wasn't, it's the idea that counts. It's the sort of the thought behind it, and that beautiful poignancy that Gonzales-Torres was sort of bringing to the work of art, and sort of bringing the audience in as well, so bringing the spectators in and then becoming part of the work, and and a beautiful thing to call it Portrait of Ross, really quite moving. So Ross, of course, did pass away, I think, in 1991. Unfortunately, Gonzales-Torres also passed away of AIDS in 1996, I think, or 1998. I think it might have been 96 at the age of 38. Anyway, he was in his 30s, and it was in the 90s. He did another one as well, so maybe not quite. So he did about 19 of these installations using sweets. So here's another one. So this, what you're looking at here, so this was in MoMA, also 1991, and this is a rectangle of sweets, again in their wrappers, that were laid out in the centre of a gallery floor, and this was called Placebo. And so this was about the number of pills that we take in our lives, and the concept was exactly the same. So you could walk, and you could pick them up. You could walk on the installation. You could do kind of whatever you wanted, really. And so I guess then that's about, okay, so no matter how many pills we take, there are still going to be pills that we need to take or that we want to take, or yeah, for me, not quite as poignant as the Portrait of Ross. And he did various different versions of the Ross portrait, but nearly always sweets and corners. But yeah, so this one was like a carpet, and this is Placebo. So, you can see it just kind of looks like debris, doesn't it? And this was outside the Grand Palais in Paris in 1996 as part of a wider exhibition called Nuit Blanche, the White Night. Night as in with an N rather than with a K, not nights. Like, how do you mimic nights on a little tiny phone? Like that, apparently. That's more like rabbits. What was that about? Anyway, I don't know. So you can see the mess that made. And so started out as this lovely rectangle, and then got all messy like that within no time at all. And then the rectangle, and I think there was a specified weight as well for that, was recreated, and then you'd kind of start again. So that is Felix Gonzales-Torres, and beautiful, actually, in my opinion. It is the kind of thing you kind of turn your nose up and think, that's kind of a little bit rubbish, but I think for me it's quite moving. So there we go. I'm going to turn off. I'm very glad. Let's turn off, stop sharing. I'm very glad you haven't fallen into the laundry basket. For those of you that have just joined, I'm not at home. I am in a hotel room, and I forgot to bring all of the things I needed for my stand for my phone. But here you all are. You haven't fallen over. That's great. And so we've had the colour blue. So talking about May's links, the link for May. So we've had the colour blue. Yves Klein blue, if you remember, and we have had a blonde lady, and I was saying that she might have been a bit of an ambitious blonde, and we've had hard-boiled sweets. So does anybody have a clue what the link is? Come on, you can do it. I think somebody got it. Anyway, I'll put it up, and you can message me. So we've got one more for next week, and if people start guessing what the link is, then I might just see if you can guess what the final Elevenses of May might be about. So I will give you a clue. It's a portrait. It's a portrait. You can't think what it is. Are you? I don't know. I don't know whether there's a slight inflection of what would be the word? Irony or no, not irony. Sarcasm. Oh, sarcasm. Sue from Tiger Belly Yoga. You've just missed the whole thing. You'll have to watch me on catch up. We're talking about conceptual art and sweets. Yeah. I'm going to do another one about sweets actually at the end of, at the beginning of June, because there were two things when I thought about sweets. There were two things that I thought about, and actually the other one is conceptual art as well. But I think it deserves, a whole, Elevenses to itself. It would have been too long if I'd have done them both together. So. You genuinely haven't got it. Okay, so as nobody else has got it. So Eve Klein Blue, so International Klein Blue. So it's all about the blue, and then Ambitious Blondes. So all about the colour of the hair and the ambition. And then this one, Hard Sweets. No, okay, good. Well. Keep guessing. I'll put them up on stories, and yeah, and hopefully someone will get the link. I think you'll definitely get the link after next week's. So tune in next week for the last Elevenses of May, when the exciting series link will be revealed, and you will be blown away, I'm sure, or not. But hopefully you will. Have a lovely, lovely day, everybody. I will see you next week when I will be back in the kitchen. And I wish you a lovely weekend. And yeah, see you next Thursday. Thanks very much indeed for joining. Bye. Bye.